I've been wanting to make a what's on my iPhone video for a long time now. I really enjoy watching other people's videos on how they organize their home screen and what apps they choose to include, and I always end up finding a new app that I didn't know existed. I hope that's the case today. Hopefully you find an app that I've been using that you're gonna learn about today, and maybe it's gonna become your new favorite app. This is my lock screen, and I try to keep it as uncluttered as possible. I've got a news widget from Google News. This is pretty much the only news that I consume. In the Google News app, I've customized it so I can get some top stories, some tech stuff, some fashion stuff. If something important's happening, I'm probably gonna hear about it. Other than that, everything's kind of photo video related. I've got NomoCam, Lapse, and the built-in camera app. And I've also customized my action button to open the Blackmagic app. So I've got like 4 different ways to open a camera. Maybe that's overkill. The photo in the background is something I took a couple years ago, and I actually created a folder of a bunch of some of my favorite images, and I've programmed this so that the background image changes every hour, so I'm always looking at something new. I don't necessarily think that the layout that I have for my apps right now is the best, but I do try to keep similar apps together in folders or in widgets. I've got a widget stack on the main screen for fitness and one for Withings, which is like another fitness app that syncs with my scale, and another stack of widgets for the weather, where it's got Apple Weather, the Weather Channel, and something called Lumi. The apps that I touch most frequently, I try to leave out of a folder, like the camera, Chrome, Photos, or Spotify. Other apps that I don't use as frequently are tucked away in folders. I've done my best to remove as many apps as I can and put them in the app library, and if I need one of these apps, I'll just swipe down and use the search function. I found searching for your apps is much faster for me than swiping through your pages. You may also notice there's very few notification badges. When I get a notification, I do my best to look at it and address it quickly, and the ones that I can't keep up with, I just turn those off. By the way, my name is Davey. I am a photographer and videographer from Canada, and I love productivity, I love organization, I love systems, and I love cameras. So I'm trying to share that love with anybody else who is also interested in that online. Okay, let's talk some of my favorite apps, and I guess you could call these ones like productivity. Other than my calendar, what keeps me most on track is my to-do list, and I use TickTick. It's not the most exciting to-do list app, but there's 2 features that I really enjoy. First being, you can prioritize your task as a low, medium, or high priority. The second one is that I can add a task into my to-do list and schedule it for a later date, which is really handy so this page does not get clogged up. There's also a home screen widget that I use all the time, so I can check stuff off just from the home page. Notion is where I store most of my ideas and do project management. My Notion setup is pretty simple. I basically use just one page and a couple different charts in the app, and it works for me. I'm sure you know all about Notion, so I'm not gonna go on and on about it. If I had to improve 2 things in Notion, I wish it worked offline. There's been so many times where I'm on an airplane and I can't write down any ideas because it's not gonna get synced to the cloud. And I also wish that their widget was a little bit improved, otherwise I'd have a widget on my main screen. I still use the Notes app on my phone if I'm trying to jot something down quick. I haven't entirely moved over to Notion, and Notion doesn't really have good handwriting. I actually haven't found many good apps that let you handwrite well, so I got some stuff still floating in Notes. I want to try and eliminate this app or fully use it. Still trying to figure that out. For calendars, I just use the stock calendar app that comes in Apple. This works for me. I found Spark a couple years ago, and when I found it, it was one of the first email apps that would use a smart inbox to organize the emails coming into your inbox. It also has a feature where you can snooze your messages to a later date. I feel like this is a pretty normal thing in most email apps nowadays, but I continue using this app. I'm sure there's better ones out there, and if you know of some, I'm open to trying them. I also use QuickBooks Self-Employed for my business. I don't use it a ton on my phone. I mostly do my accounting and my bookkeeping on my computer. However, the app is great for tracking your mileage, which is something I don't have to manually do. The app does it all on its own. I can't talk about what's on my iPhone without mentioning the physical case that I actually have on my iPhone. This is a case from a company called Andar, and this is 100% full grain leather, and it is super smooth to touch. I love that it's super slim and it has MagSafe included on the back of it. I have a difficult time using any case that doesn't use MagSafe nowadays, so it's nice to have a leather case with MagSafe. I also have a matching leather case on my MacBook. How nice is that? I did not have to pay $3,000 to get a black MacBook. Super smooth, super thin. I'm a fan. If you're interested, I've got a discount code down below if you want to check those out. There's also a whole bunch of other colors if black isn't your thing. There's browns and greens and a lot nicer stuff than my boring black. Just like to keep it simple. This next set of apps are apps that track me. That sounds bad. We'll use it as a working title, apps that track me. First being Google Maps. Google Maps is my map of choice. I really enjoy Apple Maps, but living in Canada, I found that Apple Maps can take me on some strange routes, and opening and closing times for stores are not always correct, so I feel like I kind of need to use Google Maps. I have no issues with Google Maps. It's fantastic. It works with my Apple Watch. It works with CarPlay. No complaints. I also have an obsession where I add menus and photos and anything else that's missing to Google Maps listings. And so far I've contributed 5,800 photos. Life cycle. This app is using my location all the time, and it's probably draining my battery. It's useful for seeing how much time I'm on flights, how much time I'm sleeping, in hotels, working, walking, all of that. I find it interesting that I can look back at weeks, months, and years to see what I was doing. I can see that in 2022, I got 1,800 hours of sleep, and in 2023, I got 2,600 hours. That's awesome. Health is another one of these apps that I set up and forget about. It takes the information from my watch, it takes the information from my phone, and it gives me summaries of data over time. It helps me see if I'm being as active week to week as I'd like to be, and I've actually really enjoyed this new well-being feature that was introduced in iOS 17. Every day I take a second or two and log my mood, and over time, I can see how my mood is changing and what factors may contribute to that. Waterminder is an app that I've been using for the past couple years, and it logs every drink of water that I take. I mainly track on my watch, and it syncs over to my phone. This year I've been the most intentional about tracking my water. By the end of the year, I want to be consuming 3 liters of water a day. Looks like in January, I achieved my goal 27 times, and last year I was not doing so well. This year is going to be the year. This one's pretty fun. It's called 1 Second Every Day. This app is going to take 1 second from videos that you've taken each day and compile a slideshow that's kind of like a journal. It's an easy way to keep track of what you've been up to each day and a fun little highlight for your month or for your year. Dang, I've had some fun times. Forgot about those. Time for some fun apps. Instagram. There has been some better days of Instagram where it's easier to connect with your friends. The app is what it is nowadays. Let's move on. TikTok, I barely use this app. I kind of just post and walk away. YouTube has grown to be one of my favorite apps. I love watching documentaries, learning something on it, seeing explainer videos, seeing vlogs from very interesting people across the world. It's actually the only streaming platform that I pay the premium price for, which is nice because then I can download videos to watch offline when I'm flying or out of service, and I guess I also don't have to watch ads. I don't have Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, any of that stuff on my phone. YouTube is that for me. The YouTube Studio app is on here. I love this app as well. It has so much information, way more data than any other app I've used, but I find I spend too much time in here, so I'm trying not to use it as much. I love Be Real. I'm sure this is controversial. I don't know many other people that use this app as much as I do. I've got a solid group of friends who post on Be Real consistently every day, and it's fun to see what they're actually up to. It feels like what stories used to be on Instagram. I also love that I can go back in the archive and see what I was up to on specific days, similar to 1 second every day. Oh, time to be real right now. Laps, I don't know much about this app. I've been taking photos and posting in it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. Twitter, X, what are we calling this? Don't really use it. I don't find it that interesting. Like, text-based stuff does not get me that excited. However, Threads, also a text-based app, but every time I open it, within a couple scrolls, I see a lot of stuff that I like, so I've been using this app more than Twitter. The Books app, is that fun? I do most of my reading on my iPad mini, but sometimes I like to pick up where I left off. Lately, I've been reading Ali Abdaal's Feel Good Productivity and Never Too Small's Coffee Book. Overcast is my podcast player of choice. It's my favorite way to consume podcasts. Some of my favorite features include Smart Speed, Custom Speed, and the ability to trim off the intro or outro if there's like ads at the beginning of your episodes. Some podcasts I've been listening to lately are the 505 Podcast, Chappy Hour, Colin and Samir Show, Otherworld, Stallman Podcast, Socality Show. I don't really have any games on my phone. I love games a lot and I try to leave them off my phone because they take up a lot of my time. I leave those on the iPad mini for evenings or when I'm on a flight, and I can guilt-free enjoy those. Photo and video apps, these are also pretty fun. Since I've got my iPhone 15 Pro, I have been using this phone a lot to take the majority of my photos and videos. I take most of my photos and videos in the stock camera app. It is pretty good for memories and for catching stuff on the go. If I want higher quality videos, I switch over to the Blackmagic camera app. It's a great app for capturing log video on your phone versus the native camera app, and there's a lot more settings you can tinker with to get some pretty incredible videos. Another app that I absolutely adore to capture photos is called NomoCam. This app emulates well-known cameras and film stocks to create film-like looking photos right from your phone. This app is so much fun to use. I really enjoy the photos that I get out of it, and there's so many cameras to choose from. I actually made an entire video about this app because I love it that much. I'll link it around here somewhere. I've got Lightroom on my phone. I don't use it a ton on here, but it's a great way to have access to almost all of my photos from my mobile device. CapCut is amazing and it is so powerful on your phone. I really enjoy it for stitching together videos that I've shot on my phone, or if I need to add captions to something very quickly. I wish that Final Cut could get something similar on the phone, but we'll just have to continue to wait. That's more or less the apps that I have on my phone and continue to use on a regular basis. For this upcoming year, I want to work on spending less time on my phone and use it more like a tool. I want to use it when I need it and put it away when I'm not using it. On top of that, I'd like to take advantage of the focus modes a little bit more. Right now I use Do Not Disturb, Sleep, Driving, but having a well-defined reason why you're picking up your phone would be a benefit to my life. I appreciate you spending this much time with me today. I hope that you found an app that you didn't know existed before, and if you did, please leave it in the comments. It's all gravy, and we'll see you in the next one.